We got a vibe
Welcome
going on
back.
this
We got some
stage.
electric feel playing. I'm feeling this moment, my friends.
Welcome to the conversation stage. I'm Becky Endicott. I'm one of the co-founders of We Are For Good.
Hey, and I'm John, co-founder of We Are For Good. Also, we love conversations, but what we love more than that is community. And so we really want to thank you for joining this stage today. Please come in and introduce yourself. We want to see where everybody's tuning in from so we can get to know you a little bit. But y'all, this panel, we've been counting down the moments. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We are talking about how to leverage modern media to scale your impact. I have to tell you, out of all the panels that we have hosted on this stage, I am so excited to talk to this community about what is there for the taking right now to help scale your nonprofit. So let's get into it. Who do we need to invite in?
I mean, we got to start with Dr. Bertrhude Albert. I mean, do you remember Dr. B? She came in as our keynote to the RNS Summit last year, and she brought the house down. But Dr. B is the CEO of P4H Global. And if you're not familiar with that organization, they're all about upskilling and really building teachers from within in Haiti. And their transformation is global, my friends. I mean, she is a powerhouse. But we bring Dr. B into any conversation, but how we think about scaling impact. We talk about somebody that uses their story, comes in just what they've got, and she has grown this amazing following on Instagram and TikTok, dispelling biases and past beliefs and long-held beliefs and flipping the script completely through just short little TikToks and Instagram. And Dr. B, we learn when we're in your presence, it is a delight to have you here, my friend. You are a wonder. It is good to see you.
Yay! So I don't know if I can respond, but I love you guys. So excited to be here with you.
Thank you for being
any
here.
chance to talk about Haiti is a good day for us. So, okay, our second panelist is the incredible Neda Azarfar. She is the founder of Nazar Works. And guys, Neda is our influencer queen and whisperer. She's been a seasoned executive with 20 years of experience leading marketing and communications for brands like Hello, the Recording Academy, the Grammys, MySpace. And now she's got this boutique social impact agency, which brings together the best marketing ideas, practitioners to solve pressing communications challenges. She's based in Portland, Oregon, and we adore her so much. Neda, welcome to the stage. We're so glad that you're here.
And
hi, thank
hi
you.
Neda. Oh my gosh.
I have to record that and make
Yes, just replay it.
We
We're Hype Squad. It is my sincere honor to introduce Kelly Lyndgaard. Oh my gosh. Founder, CEO of Unshattered. Do you remember the day we discovered Unshattered and Kelly?
Oh my gosh,
and we're
please
like,
go buy a bag from
more
Unshattered.
of this in our life. Yeah, Kelly, after this career being a Fortune 20 executive, she channeled her passion, her heart for creating community, specifically with women. And so Unshattered is this 501c3 nonprofit social enterprise, track with me here, whose mission is to end the addiction relapse cycle. And they are doing it to a level that very few organizations are seeing the type of results that they are, but they're doing it through sustainable fashion. They have incredible collaborations with the likes of Southwest Airlines, taking used seats and turning them into beautiful handbags and that have a story behind them. So Kelly, when we are around you, we just feel more empowered about what's possible. And you're calling from New York area today. So pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you.
Welcome in, Kelly. Okay, I'm going to switch it over to not the last, not the least. It is the Jeff Rosenblum. We adore Jeff. He is one of my favorite humans that we've met in the We Are For Good community. He's the co-CEO of Questus. He's an author. He's a filmmaker. He is an agency founder, and we love him because he is an industry disruptor. And he's partnered with major brands like Apple, Apple fanboy right here, Amazon, Disney. He's got a best-selling book, Exponential and Friction. John kind of geeked out on the cover as a designer, but he is really lecturing on the theme of building and transforming brands through empowering the consumer journey. He is also such a brilliant tactician on engaging storytelling with actionable education. His family is so involved in Build On. He loves and has a heart for the impact agency and our work. He is also based kind of close to Kelly in upstate New York. Jeff, welcome to the stage. We're so glad you're here.
As he's coming in, let's jump in. I mean, Jeff, so glad you're here. We got to start talking about mindsets, and I think, Dr. B, we definitely want to kick it to you first because I kind of named this in your intro, but I want to talk about fear, which is maybe not a natural place, but we think it's like so core as a place to start when we think about flexing media. Let's just call the elephant in the room. A lot of us feel really uncomfortable about getting center stage about some of these topics. A lot of us work in really difficult topics, but I mean, you've overcome so much to be able to do that, not only with your own story, but with a bigger story about Haiti. Yeah. Talk about how you overcame that And what are some recommendations for everybody joining today about how they can just get into the game of talking and sharing?
Yeah, certainly. Again, I want to thank you all for having me. I love this question because everything so I work in Haiti. My full-time job is training teachers in Haiti. I was just there in Haiti, and I'll be there in about another 2 weeks. And as I was working in Haiti, I found that it was powerful. The work was moving. But the diaspora, the Haitian people that were in the United States and people that are allies of Haiti, they didn't know our story. They didn't know what was going on. And so I decided to go on social media, and I was like, you know what? I need to share the true story of our people. I need to share what we're doing on the ground in Haiti, but then also the history of our people, who we are, where we come from, what we've accomplished as a people, because there's just been this negative narrative about Haiti. There's been this concerted effort to just downgrade our people. And so I knew that social media was key to spreading the truth of my country, this truth of my people. And what has been very important for us is this idea that, as scary as it might be, because I was like, oh, what if I don't look good this day? What if my hair's not done well? What if they don't receive what I'm
Struggle's
saying?
real.
Yeah, yeah. Or what if they even take me just as like the angry Black woman, like, because I have so much truth that I want to share. Like, there was so much fear in me going on social media and just making a video. But then I knew at the end of the day, in order for me to connect with the people I wanted to connect with, I needed to share a story, and I needed to do it through social media. The last thing I'll say, I mean, I could spend hours, but like, it's blown my mind seeing how people have taken a hold of what's happened in just 2 years. My TikTok has grown to over 250,000 people. Instagram has grown to about 100,000 people. And this is just in 2 short years of going on. And it's not just because I'm cute, which I'm cute, but it's not because of that.
You are.
It's because people want the authenticity. They want the story. They want to know, and they want it to be shared with like an open heart and with a genuine spirit.
Okay, such a good tone set, because we move from fear into joy. And I want to compliment you, Dr. B, because when I watch your videos, I feel joy. And I mean, you're millions of views and downloads later, and people are sharing that story. And I think that's the thing that we want you to understand about modern media. It's not one and done. It's creating something that can have ripples, and no one understands amplification and ripples like Jeff does. And you have worked at this sort of intersectionality of marketing, media, advertising, consumers for decades, and you have seen just incredible opportunity that is there for the taking. What can nonprofits seize in this moment to really grab that opportunity and start to get a voice and a cadence going out in media?
Yeah. So first of all, so good to see you guys, Becky and John.
We missed you.
Every moment I spend with you is one of my favorite moments, and you're two of the greatest people. And if I could, before I even answer your question, just say to your whole audience, like, congratulations and thank you, and you're incredible human beings for doing what you're doing as the lone capitalist working with Fortune 100s on a regular basis. What you guys are doing is so incredible, and everybody wants to move the world forward, and everybody thinks they kind of are, but every single person that's logged into this right now, you're making the world a better place in a real way, and that's not the easy life decision. So on behalf of everybody else who's not doing that, I'd just like to say thank you and congratulations.
Oh, dang.
This is so awkward, though. Yeah, please, like, let's get back.
Back to you.
What was the question?
And now I'm incredibly nervous because I don't know if I can bring enough value to this equation and answer your question, but I'll take a swing at it. Here's what we tell all of our clients, which is, at the end of the day, the secret sauce to all of media, all of marketing, all of creativity, all of data, technology, all these things feed into the modern marketing ecosystem. It all sits successfully, when it's done successfully, it all sits on a foundation of empowerment. And what that really means is, if you think about marketing and the history of marketing and some of the greatest ads ever, they're not that cool anymore, right? It used to be like this desperate game of getting attention and superficial messages. And when you turn on TV or YouTube pre-rolls, like, everyone's desperately trying to get attention. There's Flo from Progressive and the Geico Gecko and all that crap. Like, those days are over. And particularly for your audience, because your audience is looking for something that's a lot more meaningful. So what I think you can lean into is empowering people, giving them meaningful content, really answering their unmet needs and unmet questions. Sometimes those questions are very emotional. They need to be inspired. I don't think they need to be entertained. For some reason in marketing, there's this legacy of entertainment that's frivolous, right? It's superficial. Like, how do we inspire people to let them know that they can be part of your organization and can make a real difference? And then ultimately, how do we give them that, what we call functional messaging? Like, answer all those questions that people have, whether you're helping Haiti or any other organization. People have questions like, where are my dollars going? What else can I do to help? And what are the ways that we're making benefits? What are the challenges that you're facing? Like, there are tons and tons of questions. And I think Dr. B's thing about being on social media is a great technique. There are many, many techniques out there. But if you always look at this lens of, how do I bring value? How do I empower the audience? How do I answer questions? You don't need to think about, how do I capture attention? How do I build awareness? All that stuff is overrated. Give them the information that they're looking for, and it'll move your business forward.
Okay. I mean, y'all, you brought so much value with that, Jeff. Thank you for these tone setting combos. I mean, I feel like we're moving past our fear here in this conversation. We hold the power here, and I hope everybody here realizes that there is a powerful story and value that you're bringing to the world. So, Neda, I want to kick it to you. Bust some myths for us, my friend. We've heard from nonprofits that think leveraging media, and I'm not just talking about social media, it's not enough. How can we reorient our mindset that this is for them? It's an opportunity that all of us can really pour into.
Yeah. Thank you also for having me. And I love the hype. So I really appreciate it. And I do feel what Jeff feels, where it's like, I'm not really one of the good ones. I just kind of work here, but you all do all the good stuff.
You both are so good.
I definitely feel that way. So I would say the thing I noticed, the myth I want to bust for people is, I don't know if this is a myth that people consciously think about, but this concept this idea that you can focus on just, one type of media and just really go all in on that. And if you do it really, really well, then maybe you don't really need to worry about the other ones so much. And I don't know if people consciously think this, but you can see it play out in the way nonprofits set up their media mix and where they allocate disproportionately and where they don't. And I think that to me is maybe a result of fear. Maybe it's a result of, well, this is what I have control over, or, this comes from this budget. So whatever reason it's happening, though, it's to the detriment of the whole thing, because we're trying to use things that were designed to have certain impacts, and we're trying to use them to do something else. And then it's not working and we're not exactly sure why. And I think that the fact that a lot of times we think that this is possible to do, like if I just really build up my socials, and my web content and my website, then, my owned channels, I'll have the success that I want. Right. Years ago, it was like the myth of, an ad campaign, how doing a big campaign for a nonprofit was going to make their year. And then it wouldn't, and people would be disappointed. And then they were like, well, it was the campaign and it was the message, but it wasn't. It was that's just one media type, right? So just kind of like breaking it down very simple, because you told me to do that, Becky, in the prep. It's like, think of like paid, owned, earned, right? So your owned is your website, your social, your channels. You got full control. That's where you go very deep, and you can present the message however you need to present it and give people all the information that you think that they need to have with the flow. But the problem is, if all you're doing is over investing there, audiences are not getting that communication with you unless they're already in communication with you. So you're not really reaching new people too much and growing your pool. Paid helps with that. That's where you're doing ads to like intercept people where they are. You still have a good amount of control, but it has to be pretty short, right? So you have to summarize and then use the paid to get people to your channels where you can go deeper. And earned, this is like the sweet spot, right? It's really special because there's still an interception that's happening, but it's not you, the brand, right? So maybe it's a journalist. I think today, people I don't think this, a fact is that people trust influencers today more than they trust journalists. I don't like that, but that is true, right? And so to me, when I think of earned, I would say think of word of mouth and peer-to-peer and PR and influencers in this. And that is really effective at reaching people, but it's really effective at opinion formation, right? And credibility and building trust. And so, with that breakdown, I would say for nonprofits, the idea that you can just do one of these things really, really well and get where you need to get, it's never going to work. And the fact that it's not working is not because you need to you need to hire a new content editor or rethink your social, your social posts. You may need to, I don't know, but it's probably because you're not thinking about the whole thing, right? And you do need, if you've got goals that range from, I want issue awareness to, I want member engagement, I want donors, then you need that like whole funnel, that marketing funnel. I don't know how much you're familiar, right? Like you need that whole funnel approach where you're using different types of media, the appropriate types of media in the appropriate ways that are aligned to your different KPIs along that funnel. So that's my thing that I want people to like really get, is to come out of your fear and come out of what, you've done in the past, come out of that one little like niche area of marketing and media and think about the whole thing.
Okay, I got to give you some validation, some affirmation, because you nailed this. And I think that was so good. And I'm so glad you brought up the creator economy, because whether you're in it or not, it's here. It is going to be a $1 trillion business by 2027. And I think what a lot of people miss is that these are communities. These are trusted influencers, content creators. I mean, I'm looking at Dr. B. That is a trusted content creator and human who has built her own community, which means it's going to be a +1 because it's an amplifier. It's going to get you into spaces that other people can't get you in. You can't get on yourself. And so I want to help people who are listening figure out how to start. I want to go through some case studies. And Kelly, I'm so dang proud of you. I remember in December, I get this email from Kelly and she's like, hey, I'm going on Kelly Clarkson next week, and we chat. And I was just heartbursting, because I think what you have done to, one, go from this be this physicist and to being a nonprofit leader who is literally taking on addiction in this entirely new way based around community, but you're flexing media in such brilliant ways. So talk about how you're taking the Unshattered story, out into the world and how you're getting that amplification.
Yeah, well, first, I'm so grateful to be here and so grateful for all of your coaching and advice. We wouldn't be doing this well if we didn't have you and voices like yours helping us shape this. And, coming from a corporate world, right? I had some media training about what it means to be on a stage, but not how to access it. So we've just been really scrappy about where can we get resources that we don't have to pay for. One of the best places to do that is local colleges and universities. So we partner with Marist College that is near us. They have a whole PR department that is student led. They do great work for us. We do some interns. That's a great avenue. I think one life-changing, organization-changing moment was on the heels of the pandemic. Up until that point, most of our sales were face-to-face. And of course, that was all shut down. So we pivoted. We ended up making masks when that was a new thing. That seems ridiculous now, but I knew that media was the only way to survive. And so I just started making phone calls to people in the network, and that landed us on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. CBS News came to us and did the story, Fox News, Huffington Post, knowing that we had something amazing to tell and empowering somebody else to tell it on our behalf. So I have just found that if you have a good story, you make it clear, it resonates with people, you give them the language to share it, they will. And so back to the working with Marist College, it was actually one of our former interns through that program that's now a producer on the Kelly Clarkson show that landed us there. So it's relationships, pathways, empowering people to have a voice, and being very clear about your messaging. For us, as we talk about ending the addiction relapse cycle, we call everybody from an individual customer to people like you who are speaking on our behalf ambassadors of possibility. And so crafting that identity for people when they do something like share the word for us has been really, really powerful in the market.
I mean, we're just
slaying it.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally slaying it. And seriously, go check out the site and meet some of the women and the stories behind this movement. Dr. B, we're like joy's a vibe. We love watching you soar. The last 2 to 3 years have been incredible to watch your journey. What's some pro tips from your vantage point as you've had openings to stages and new doors? Kind of talk us through pro tips of what you've learned along the way.
Yeah, certainly. And even before I could do that, could I jump on the idea of fear for a second?
Keep
Please, are you kidding
going.
me?
Preach.
Okay.
Get in that pulpit.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Okay, so when we're thinking about fear, I think that it's a really powerful and beautiful thing. It's part of our humanity. And in this work, a lot of times, whether we're trying to do work on media or even our work with our nonprofits or trying to do good in the world, fear might try to get in the way. But I think that fear it could be a really good thing, because it tells us that what we're facing is important. There's something that's very valuable, something that's really big and just so important in front of us. And so I think that fear can be a good thing, but courage is always a good thing, because courage is mastery of the fear. Courage is saying, like, despite what's in front of me, despite the physical reaction that my body is having, there is something bigger and better ahead of me. And so I'm going to overcome and I'm going to master these emotions. So yeah, I just want to embrace that fear, because it's part of our humanity, and it could make us be on our game. Like, it could make us be sharper and more refined and ready to do the good that we're all here on this earth to do. And so my advice, or like the tip that I've learned, I guess in light of like this entire talk, and using media to leverage our impact, I think that, every day I'm trying to become a better storyteller. I think we've all talked about like the importance of stories, and it's all important because storytelling, it connects, it's this humanity, it connects us to another human. Stories are what our ancestors use as a Haitian and all over the world. It's what our ancestors use to pass on values, to pass on knowledge and understanding. Stories are what connects us to our past. It's what propels us to our future. It's what connects humans together. And like, the better we get at storytelling and conveying messages and connecting to that beautiful soul that each person on this earth has, like it enables us to further our mission, and it brings out the humanity in each of us. And hopefully it'll inspire, like, hopefully somebody that's listening today will be like, man, Jeff, what you said there, ooh, how you told that story, I love it. Let me go change the world. Oh, Kelly,
You're a really good storyteller.
Yeah, like I think that storytelling, it in summary, it connects our humanity, and then it also it inspires us to keep on changing lives.
Oh, I mean, this is why Dr. B is the great joy giver, because she can integrate that in. And I have to give Jeff a shout out, because the first 5 minutes that we met him on the podcast, we learned all about his mafia family. And it was just such an interesting
Started
story.
with a knife.
Julie, please drop that in the chat, because I want everybody to fall in love with Jeff in the way that we did too. But I think that, getting started, getting that courage and channeling it, recognizing it, and taking that first step is so important. And I have to give a shout out to Natalie in the chat, who is also on the Kelly Clarkson show. She has dropped her media in there. And I want to say to anybody out there, if you have media that you are proud of, drop it in the link. We want to celebrate it. We want to give people examples of what you have done, how you've approached this, how you took it on. It could be with an influencer. It could be with a reporter. It could be with local. Put it in the chat. We want to see examples of this. But I want to help people who are saying, how the heck do I get started? So I want to kick it to you, Neda, because you walk nonprofits through this so so beautifully. I loved your Alima campaign. In fact, your Alima campaign and Unshattered made it into my philanthropy giving things last year because I love both those projects so much. But I also want you to kind of talk about, you know, how do we begin when we have limited staff sizes? We have maybe no budget for this. Hello, this is the reality of working in the nonprofit sector. How can somebody start?
I think that if you are a small nonprofit and you're kind of thinking, I don't have budget for this and I don't have the resources, you're right. That's a challenge, but I think you're actually better positioned to do some of the things that you all talk about than a large nonprofit, because you actually truly have that ability to know your supporters and know your audience, because they're not that big, right? And you want them to be bigger, but like you actually can know them. And I think that would be where I start. That would definitely be where I start. A lot of times I see, people come out of, they read a benchmark report or they'll watch a summit and they've got this list of all these marketing activities that they have to start doing. I need to do this kind of a campaign. I need to do this sort of onboarding, and it's good, and do it and learn from other marketers and be the best marketer you can be. But my fear is that, as a marketer, then like you get so stuck in being a marketer and you spend so much energy encoding messages and delivering messages and tracking and reporting that you forget to even spend that time to like think about the audience response, and how they are receiving those messages. Not what channel are they receiving it from, but like what life context, are they receiving it from, and how are they feeling about it, and what's it stirring up in them. That to me is the most important thing. And that is where I would say, as a small nonprofit, take heart, spend the time, do all the cool technology stuff, but don't have it replace the relationship. Have an automated welcome series, have an automated thank you, but don't stop talking to your supporters, and knowing them, right? And you want to start to, since your community is small, that's perfect. You don't need to do a huge survey, and do all that stuff. The organizations that do that, it's because they're huge and they don't know why. And then when it comes to business, they don't know what's going on, right? But when you're smaller, just start and sketch out a picture that goes with the name and the email address. And as important as it is to ask people why they supported you and which of your programs they're most passionate about, ask them who else they've supported in the past. Find out, what inputs are, coming into their lives. Where do they get information from? You can have your social person, this is a tip, go into the profiles of your followers and find out who they're following. I mean, you're going to get so much good insight from that to really round out these people in your community. And then you can start to develop personas and theories, and you can test them out. And you'll know as you're growing, why you're growing, where you're getting traction with whom, where you're having, like, what kind of people are dropping off and why. And you can figure all that stuff out so that when you're huge and you're doing your ad campaign, and you're doing the influencer stuff, you kind of know. You already know what's going to appeal to people, and you know what you're trying to get from them. And I want to say this other thing just for the smalls, okay? Your power as a marketer is not in, it's not about the technology that you have or your ability to be on trend, and put together this perfect strategy. For marketing people, our power is our ability to know people, right? Like, and connect, and to talk to them and kind of know intuitively what they're thinking and how they're feeling, and to know how to adjust, right? To get them to think and feel differently. And so you never want to get so lost in the channel and the medium and the tactic that you kind of forget that. Do you know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense?
100%.
I feel like you've taken over the role of hype squad for everybody here. Like, it's a superpower. Like, we all are sitting on superpowers of having small communities that we're in tune with and in community with. We can build together instead of for. Like, it's so much of a better way to show up. Okay, this is so good. We've got about 15 minutes left. I want to talk about really turning up the heat, innovating, trying new things. We call it trying stuff, which is one of our mantras around We Are For Good. We're going to end up with a tattoo on it on our arm at some point, probably. But Jeff, okay, you've come in and taught us this phrase that we love so much, to empower, not interrupt. And I think that, you've already said this once, but I want you to break it down. How can we kind of implement this through our storytelling, through how we gather community, and really how we seriously build solid content that lives on and on?
Yeah, I actually, I'll answer that through the lens of a couple points that were made by Kelly and by Dr. B, and who actually circled around this point in two different directions. But I think what Kelly said is, stand for one thing, have one key message. And you have to realize from a macro perspective, there's 500,000 brands around the world, all desperately seeking the attention of your audience. The typical person, you may have seen this data, sees 5,000 branded messages every single day. We ran a study on this. That's a branded message every 2.7 seconds that you're awake. When you're on social media, you're just flipping, it's one every 2.1 seconds. And all of the data shows that these numbers may be doubling. It's more than the human brain could ever possibly handle. So the whole key to is have one key point, have one key message. There's going to be different flavors and different variations. To Neda's point, you're going to pull people through the funnel with different techniques and whatnot, but you have to have this one key point, because if you're all over the map, you're literally going to be invisible. And that's the secret sauce. If you look at like Procter & Gamble as an example, or Coca-Cola, some of these guys, Procter & Gamble is a great one. They own 17 different brands that are each worth $1 billion, not their revenue, just the logo alone, $1 billion, just the logo, right? And the way that they do it is stand for one thing. Now, if you take that and you transpose that over to what Dr. B was talking about, which is learn how to tell great stories, it's probably the single most powerful force in the world of business, in nonprofits, or anything right now, because you can get all the information that you need through artificial intelligence and technology. But the truth of the matter is, with storytelling, I think anyone who sees Dr. B telling a story, it's like, whoa, you are way gifted in this world. Like, you can tell a story, and a lot of people can do incredible things, but they're not going to be able to tell a story like that. And it becomes pretty scary. And what I've learned is, for those folks who maybe don't have that gift or it doesn't come naturally to them, telling a great story is not about what you say. It's about what you don't say, in particular in business, meaning everybody's suffering from information overload. So if you can strip out all of that extraneous information and get to Kelly's point, what is it that you do? Why is this so important? And how can you help this audience? Like, that's at the key to it. So you strip it all away. If you can get to the point of being a great storyteller, a dark and stormy night, capture people's attention, that's lovely. But when you're doing it scale and trying to grow your organization, do the hard. Tell them, and trust me on this one, it's so much harder than it sounds. Get your story down to a very short paragraph, like 2 to 3 sentences. And you'll be shocked how hard that is to do. When you start, you're like, what's my organization all about? So you're like this, multiple pages, boom, 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 edit it and get it down. So everything is reading off that same super short brief.
Get into Chat GPT, put all of those paragraphs and tell Chat GPT to get it down to 3 paragraphs, then make sure they're human. Jeff, you are so wise at this. Thank you, Tyler. Great producer here. You are so good at this. And
you're
and
very good for the ego. Let me tell you, wherever I go in the rest of my world,
and I got you every dang time. We are your hype squad. And you out there, we are your hype squad as well. And I really appreciate just grounding how important the story is, because when people can can see themselves in that story, something really magical happens. And when you take them through that experience, then it's not just Ariana Grande retweeted our tweet and we brought, 5,000 new people in. They need to have an experience when they're here. They need to understand why they are here. Spencer, I want to validate your question here in the chat about what can we do if we only have one or two stories for the entire year. I thought Natalie gave you great sound advice, because storytelling is about connection. And so source that story from your community. They've got incredible stories to tell. You're going to get cognitive diversity because different lived experiences and stories and voices are going to be coming into that. And guess what? Then your community feels empowered. Back to Jeff Rosenblum. I just want to quote all you guys all the time. But I want to talk about, to Kelly, I want to kick it to you, because I just think Unshattered story is so powerful. It is so succinct. Please listen to Kelly's episode on the podcast, because we cried when she was talking about Kintsugi. And these women in this community are literally putting a prayer or a wish into these bags. They sew them into the bags. There is a story within the bag. And I want to hear about your dreams. I want to hear about where you want to take media's impact, how you want it to sort of light up Unshattered. What are you looking forward to in the future?
Yeah, the genesis of the story is that I used to be the person who thought that people that struggled with addiction just needed to get their act together, be more responsible, get a job, until I met somebody who was in recovery, who had started at 8 years old. Average first use on my team is about 10 years old. And I had no idea that addiction is actually a story of pain, not a story of substance. But when you can give women purpose, safe community, something meaningful that they can contribute, they are going to thrive. We just had our second one who was named a 40 under 40 business leader for the Hudson Valley. Yes.
Go girl.
June, we will celebrate 8 years. We've had one single relapse for our employee base. And this summer, we will hit the milestone of having put $2 million in wages into the hands of women in recovery since our genesis. So we say recovery, when you give the right conditions, is not just possible, it's probable. And my dream is to be able to change the narrative around what addiction is and how we are all affected by it. Maybe for us, it's not a substance. We can change the narrative around it, get rid of the shame, invest in people, and really raise them up to thrive at their highest capacity, because of the most creative, most tenacious, most loyal, most hardworking group of people I have ever had the pleasure of being with. I think a really interesting opportunity for us is that often when I do events like these, the sort of highest level professionals will come to me quietly afterwards and say, me too. I struggled too. However many years ago, I had this issue. I've never really spoken about that publicly. I would love to be hosting conversations with top tier individuals who have a history of addiction, who are now ambassadors of possibility, doing amazing things in the world, to say that was not the end of my story. That was me dealing with pain. But when I was able to handle it in the right way with the right support, it was the same tenacity and strength. That brokenness is the very thing that now makes my story beautiful.
Come for the media, stay for the humanity, right?
I know we have to keep this applause track with us wherever we go. I just always want to play it on the podcast. I mean, y'all, I'm kind of grieving looking at our clock because we have about 7 minutes left. Each of you has such a story and such a, pulse on the community, what we need to hear in this moment. And so I want to kick you a one good thing and ask you to just say, you've seen the chat, you've seen the love, you're in this moment. What do you want to share, as kind of a takeaway with the one good thing for those listening today? We've got nonprofit leaders that have a narrative to rewrite in a lot of cases, or a story to step into or to own. What would you share as a one good thing? Jeff, I'll start with you, my friend.
That's interesting. Because it became clear as crystal as I was listening to that story. The one thing that I would share, because I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are on this call, that I pass along to all my friends that are starting a business or running an organization, which is when you were brought to your knees, not figuratively, literally, you're on your knees and you're crying because whatever you're doing just isn't working, and you think you're screwing up whatever campaign, whatever initiative, maybe your entire business. That is the moment where you're doing the right thing. And what happens is most people at that moment, they're done and they can't get back up. And I've learned this just because I've done a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors, and all the good ones where I've had success, I've literally been brought to my knees, crying, literal tears, like the real stuff coming out your eyes. And if you can get up off the mat, that's where the amazing stuff happens. So I know we're here to talk about marketing, but I think everyone here is trying to build something. And if you find yourself at that point, know you're in the right place and just keep going. Don't give up at that moment.
Jeff just saw us, John, and we are for good
Feel
journey.
exposed. So
Oh, I got
grateful
many
for those
more
words,
stories.
my friend. Neda, I'll kick it to you next. What's your one good thing?
I'm going to focus on mindsets because I think that for all the people who are here, they probably have like a mindset where they're trying to learn and grow. But we know in marketing, like you can't do it on your own. You need the other people to also have that same energy. So they have to see the opportunities you see and the gaps you see. And so my one good thing is to incorporate the practice of bringing people along with you. And so as you're learning things, make sure that you're sharing that with people along the way. Don't just go in with the idea, or the thing, right? And so sometimes it can happen really quick. Like you just tell people like, hey, let's focus on this. And you just focus everyone's eyes to an area and they're like, oh yeah, our auction, boom. Yeah. Okay. We got to do this. And other times, if you've been doing it for a while, it's been where you're like, let's focus on this. And other people look at it and they don't see what you see. And so you're like, how do you not see? This is a problem, right? And so that's where I think you as the marketer, it could be frustrating for all the people on this call. You're going to have all your energy and your ideas. But at the end of the day, you're in marketing. You can't do anything by yourself. You need other people with you. So you might as well just build it into your workflow. And I have been in some very, failure fearing places, hostile, and we don't want to change. And I feel like that energy is completely undermined when you have an open-handed approach where you're sharing information, you're sharing your thought process, and you're open to learning yourself, and people can see that in you. So that's my practice.
You guys, we're not going to make it through these one good things. Love the open hand. Kelly, kicking it to you.
I mean, first of all, Dr. B, Neda, Jeff, Don, Becky, I'm like furiously taking notes over here from everybody.
Same.
So thank you for everything that you guys have shared. Amazing. And I think I would just reflect back, Becky, you mentioned kintsugi, which is we have 3 secrets in every one of our bags. One is the secret message. Another one is that there's a gold seam in every bag, which is a nod to the Japanese art form of kintsugi. When pottery was broken, they would use gold in the cracks to put it back together. It was so beautiful that it became a form of art. And that term loosely means more beautiful for having been broken. And so just remembering for all of us, there was a moment when life cracked us. But the way that those pieces came back together, those scars remind us how strong that we are and can be our beauty and our superpower. So see that as your strength, make that part of your story, lean in and be an ambassador for others to help them embrace that part of themselves.
Okay. We're going to have to wheel us off the stage, Julie. Sorry about this. Dr. B, bring us home, my friend.
First and foremost, John, Becky, I love you. Julie, with all of my heart, thank you for making me a better human. Thank you for making all of us better humans. And Kelly, as you mentioned, Kelly, Jeff, Neda, I thank you 3 for the inspiration that you are to me today. And finally, for every person that is listening, thank you for making this world a better place. Thank you for giving your heart, your passion, your life to nonprofit organizations, to other types of businesses and organizations that are going to make this world a better place for the future generation, for our children, our children's children's children. And for those of you who might feel like Michelle wrote in the chat, she said, I'm so burned out and feel at a crossroads. I want to encourage everybody here to first and foremost take care of yourself, because it doesn't matter how fast we go. It matters how far we go. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we won't be able to go that far. Mental emotional, spiritual, physical health is so important. But also, I want to encourage you all that you are powerful. You are incredible. You are seen. You are loved. You are needed in this world. And when you think about the person that inspires you the most, MLK, Nelson Mandela, all these other incredible people, you are standing on their shoulders, and you are able to do far greater than what they were able to do because you have their inspiration and you've got all forms of media. Make sure that you take care of yourself and know that you're changing this world and you're making it the world that we all have hoped and prayed for.
Okay.
Okay, group hug.
Yeah. Kumbaya. You guys, thank you for the strategy. Thank you for the tactics. Thank you for the mindsets. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the community. We are overjoyed. We are ready to get out there. I hope we have broken through the wall of fear. If you feel any about this modern media, love yourself first. That's my one good thing. Love yourself, believe in your story. We are waiting and we're going to be watching your media play out. Tag us when you have it. Tag We Are For Good. We want to see it. And right now, I just want to thank all of our panelists for what you do in the world. Thank you for your joy, your humanity. Please go follow them on LinkedIn. If our panelists, if you have that at the access, please drop it in the chat so people can come follow you. And y'all, go do great work. We're going to see you on the main stage. So head over to main stage and we are going to close out today with a bang. So thank you guys and keep going. You've got this. We're rooting
So
for you.
much gratitude. Thanks for being here, y'all.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it so much.
Life's an illusion, love's the dream, but I don't know what it is. Everyone's saying things to me, but I know it's okay, okay. Everybody's happy nowadays. Everybody's happy Life's an illusion, love is the dream. Life's the illusion, love is the dream. Life's the illusion, love is the dream. Everybody's happy.